Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and welcome to a special TCP podcast. Here we have a cosplayer interview with Miss Gothic Sushi. So, Miss Gothic Sushi, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, how are you today? I am Gothic Sushi, and the things and the stuff.
She sounds like the woman from Family Guy, the little Consuela. It sounds pretty hilarious.
Oh, good, good. I continue to do the voice for the interview.
That's great.
I'm glad I don't have this on video, though. It'd be much funnier.
Yes, it would be, especially with the Deadpool mask. I saw that last interview that you had. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not Deadpool masking, though, right now, because I was actually working on armor, and you were like, oh, the thing, and I'm like, oh shit, today is Tuesday.
Yeah. I lost track of time too, so it was like, oh well, I better get on it now then, so I decided to contact you, and we're gonna get the ball rolling with this. So I want to introduce my other co-host, Mr. Reapers, Mr. Drunkard. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, what's going on? I'm having a little drink right now, just to set the mood. Got the lights nice and dim, you know, kind of romantic in here. It's a little bit.
You and your fucking margaritas.
Yeah.
And next we have Mr. Captain Chaos. So can you introduce yourself, please?
What's going on, guys? I am co-host of the TCP, and I am a YouTube Let's Player who no one knows about. But yeah.
I know about you.
Some people know about me.
And last but not least, I am Renegade Operative, the host of the podcast. Well, one of the co-hosts. I'm not going to take all the credit. So, I would like to say it's good having you, Miss Gothic Sushi, and we're going to dive right into the questions in the Google document. So, number one is, what is your main inspiration that gave you the push to partake in the cosplay and modeling medium?
Well, that's kind of weird, because I actually started cosplaying because I moved to Florida, and I didn't really have any friends here, and I'm a tattoo artist. So, like, a couple of my clients who had come in to, like, see me, they're like, oh, have you ever been to one of these Comic-Cons? You're kind of a nerd. And I was like, no? What is that? So they're like, oh, just bring your Halloween costume, which was actually Deadpool at the time. And I really did it to try to find like local people to come get tattooed by me and like meet new people in the area. And that first convention I went to was just so much fun that I kind of like nosedived into a really big one after that, and I just kept going.
Okay,
That's awesome.
We're going to move on to question number 2. So, Mr. Reapers, could you take that one, please?
All right. What are your thoughts on the convention scene, meeting fans, and has it helped your cosplay craft become more noticeable in the community?
It's definitely weird having fan people. Like,
Fan people.
I hate calling them that, though. Like, I'm not one of the people who are like, oh, I have so many fans, I'm so important. Like, it's very
As
weird.
my friends.
Yeah, they're friends. They're, like, people who I, like, literally... Like, I'm not the type of cosplayer girl that's gonna hide behind a table and not acknowledge people. Like, that's kind of been my goal ever since I started making a weird cosplay name for myself.
Right.
So
It's more
you
like-
want to be more interactive?
Yeah, like, I actually have, like, a lot of problems. Like, when I get, like, a booth or something, and I have to get better at it because I don't want to stay behind my booth. I want to, like, go to panels with people, and I want to, like, run around and be crazy, because that's the reason why I went to conventions in the first place. So, it's more of a friendship basis still for me, like, and I really never want that to end, because I don't want to be, like, the girl or the guy that's standing behind a table that's too good to talk to anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always good because it gives you more of an opportunity to, you know, humanize yourself amongst the people that are there at conventions. So that's pretty good logic there. So
That'll be $5 for an autograph.
well, Mr. Chaos is joking.
This interview actually cost us an arm and a leg.
The last convention we were at, me and my good friend Savette, who also goes by the name Sushi, we did Morgana and Lilith, and we had a giant cross that we were doing tips for whips, where we were looking for the cross and whipping them. We got in slight trouble for that. It was funny though.
Time to get spanked in the name of Jesus.
That's right.
I had a question. I don't think it's on the doc. How did you get the name?
Gothic Sushi is actually a weird... I've actually had that nickname since I was like, I want to say like 10 or 11.
It's just like, oh, hey, Gothic Sushi.
Yeah, I went through like this really crazy anime phase in my life. Like when I only listened to like J-Rock and I dressed like a little anime schoolgirl and only watched Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Slayers, like that stuff was my life. And I used to pack like a little sushi box and go to school. So like somehow I picked up the name because I was like a weird goth kid, and because I brought sushi to school, they just like put the name together, and I picked up the nickname Gothic Sushi.
So I have a question. Did you put a spell on all the students in your classroom?
Only
Hex.
4.
Only 4. So we can move on to question number 3. Mr. Chaos, could you take that one, please?
Sure. Are you an avid gamer? If so, what games do you enjoy playing? How did you get into gaming, and what's your favorite game to play that's currently on the market? Also, what has been your favorite system to play on so far?
So many questions all at once.
Like 3 questions.
This actually goes into the reason why I call myself Gothic Sushi from the last question. Like, that was my gamer tag. Like, that was my first original gamer tag and, like, everything.
Right.
I just kind of kept it. I used to be a really avid gamer, like, all the time. Like, it was very hard to pull me off games, and I usually do, like, RPGs. I'm not much of a first-person shooter at all. I really fail at life. But, like, my very first tattoo was Rena from Final Fantasy VIII's wings on my back from her shirt.
Right.
But I had children, and that took away a lot of my video game time, and they kind of take my video game time away from me, and now I just watch them play. But I still... Let's see, like, the last game, like, I was really crazy obsessed with was probably Skyrim. And then before that was World of Warcraft. So still, like, I get really into RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess, like, recent game I've played, like, and actually played it, it'd still be, Skyrim, honestly. Like, I still go back to that and, like, make a character and play that all the time.
Gonna get that Skyrim remastered? They're actually coming out with a remaster of Skyrim.
Didn't they say, like, they're making, like, one... Oh, wait, you know what? I could probably say Pokemon Go, because I've been playing the hell out of that.
I think everybody has.
Yeah, it's been really popular.
Question, what team? What's your team?
I'm Team Instinct.
Ooh.
Reapers is being spoiled for.
Listen,
I'm
there's a
completely
philosophy,
lost, I'm
though.
What is it?
All Team Instinct people are badass.
Okay.
Like, we are. Like, we're not here to fight. We're not here to be angry about your trivial problems.
That's not cool.
We're not aggressive or think we're the best. We're just here to catch Pokemon and have fun.
Look, eventually they're gonna have the Team Instinct and Team Valor gang war, so you know what's gonna happen.
It's the West Side Story gang war.
So
put one of the
that Team
Pokemon
Red,
in the back
though.
alley.
Those Team Red people are assholes.
Oh, I'm Team Valor. What the fuck?
Alright, so we're going to move on to question number 4. To add on to that, what would be your dream convention to attend if you had the opportunity to go?
Oh, that's tough. There's 2. Well, there's 3. 3 right now that I'm like, I want to go. I'll say for number 1, though, would be New York City Comic Con. Because I'm from New York. And that was, like, the very first convention I had ever heard about. And it's funny because that's the only convention there. And before I had moved to Florida, before I had, like, ran into the people down here, me and one girl were like, we're gonna do this year. And then we never did it. And then I moved down here and I was like, I'm gonna live our dream and continue doing this. But that was something, like, I always wanted to do, but, like, at the time in my life, I was like, that's kind of weird. Those people are weird. And now look at me.
Yeah, wild and crazy and at conventions. I think that that's also great that at least you're trying, because a lot of conventions, they really cost money. I've heard this from other cosplayers. It's kind of hard to get in some conventions because the prices for tickets are absolutely insane. And there's that thing always where you have to apply, you know, quickly, otherwise the tickets might run out. So I can see how that's a bit of a hassle.
Yeah, we're doing Dragon Con in like, what, 2 weeks, I think? And that is like a money pit. And that's not like something like you have to be like Jessica Negri, Yaya Han to get invited to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally the convention of all conventions on the like East Coast over here, like the southern East Coast, and it's like it's the one thing. Like I went last year for my first time, and it was like the best convention I'd ever been to. So I'm like, I'm going to die and be broke forever, but I need to go to this convention.
Yeah, all you eventually need to do is probably, like, say, you're Deadpool and you're gonna steal someone's wallet in Chimichangas, so that might work out for you.
Actually, almost every single convention I've gone to, somehow I end up with a random stolen object, and I don't know why. Like, and I don't do it on purpose. I'm just like, how did I end up with this? How did I schnice this off of this person?
So you subconsciously steal things.
Yeah, I just blame it on Deadpool. Like,
It's something
like
you would
the
do.
first convention I ever went to, it was like my third time being Lady Deadpool, and I got in an elevator with this group of kids, and it was probably the most memorable like con experience of my life. And I'm like, oh my god, I love your shirt, and he had like the Pink Floyd Eevee crossing shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh yeah, it's really cool. Da, da, da. He's like, I just got it here. I'm like, I'll give you $5 for it. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'll buy the shirt off your back. The kid took off his shirt and gave me it for $5.
Wow.
And I think he thought I was gonna give it back. And my friends were outside of the elevator, and I just like ran away, and I never seen the kid again. And I guess he walked around the convention shirtless.
Man,
got kicked out.
that-
No shirt,
that's
no
like-
shoes, no service.
that's like the walk of shame.
I think like, but I was like a little drunk, and I was a little bit of a Lady Deadpool, so I just ran away.
Oh, there you go. You got away scot clean.
Exactly. So I was like, I'm just leaving now.
So, we're going to move on to question number 6, and that is number 5. Never mind. Mr. Reapers, could you read that, please?
Alright, what are your thoughts on crafting and creating material for cosplay? And have you personally done it to enhance your own costume?
This one's a tricky one too, because like when I first started cosplaying, I was mostly, and I still kind of am, like a thrift shop cosplayer. So I like take dresses that I find there for like $12, and then I add material to them, because I'm really not like a pro seamstress where I can like build a ball gown out of my own bare hands yet. And actually before this interview I was working on armor, which was like my second or third try at armor. So crossing my fingers, it turns out better than last time. I definitely use cosplay as like an alternative way to express my creativity, since I'm naturally just an artist in general. So it helps me release that, I guess. So another reason why I enjoy it so much.
Okay, so we're on number 6. How long do you plan to continue your hobby of cosplay, and how has this hobby personally helped or influenced your life?
Well, I'm 30, so I'm old as shit.
That's not that old.
So, I would like to cosplay, because I see, like, ladies cosplaying and men, like, in their older age. So, I mean, it's probably not something that's just gonna, like, disappear. It's definitely something I enjoy. I mean, the only reason why I would stop cosplaying is because I'm no longer having fun doing it. And then it becomes, like, a job or a chore to me, and it wouldn't be fun, I guess.
So it seems like you want to continue this as a fun hobby instead of making it into work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
understandable.
then,
That's how it should be, to be
what was
honest.
the other?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was the other side of the question?
How has it influenced your life?
Okay, and that part, I used to feel like I was really ugly and fat and disgusting, and recently one of the cosplayers I had met in Canada, Coraline, she was like, "Oh, how do you do such sexy cosplays? How does that make you feel?" And it's weird because 2 years ago, like, I felt uncomfortable in my Deadpool costume. I'm so fat and ugly. But the people and, like, the build-up that they give you, like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and, "Oh, you do such good stuff," and it really helps you think better about yourself, I guess, because I would have never been in front of a camera before I started cosplaying. So it definitely makes you feel strong, like more like a stronger person, more independent, more like creative, more pretty. It helps build your self-esteem dramatically.
Absolutely. I was gonna build off the self-esteem thing, but you nailed it like right on the head, so I definitely am in agreement with that. So we're on number 7 now. So Mr. Chaos, could you read that off, please?
Sure. Name some of the best and worst aspects of preparing a cosplay and how much planning it takes to go to a convention.
He said planning. So I have Dragon Con coming up in like 2 weeks.
Right.
I haven't started those costumes yet.
Oh, great. Cool.
I have Animate coming up in 3 weeks, which is a full armor build, which is my 3rd build. I just started that tonight. I don't plan very well. I just kind of let it happen and hope
Just
for the
wing it.
best. I'm a like in life in general. I'm like, we'll try and see how that works out for me.
Right.
Yeah, let's just go with the motions and see what sticks.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I mean, if my costume breaks, like at SuperCon, I did Vaporeon because I do Vaporeon all the time. It's my favorite Pokemon, and somehow I had lost one of my ear fins, and I was really upset with it. And then my friends are like, "It's fine, it's late, it's okay," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. I just have ear fin ears, and I don't have all 3. And if anyone asks me what kind of Pokemon I am, I'm just be like, your mom." I'm gonna continue.
Wow.
So like, I just try not to let it bug me too much.
Mhm.
I guess it's like, cause I'm there to have fun. In the long run, that's what I'm there for. I'm not there to be like the star of the show or spend 300 hours on a piece of armor that I'm gonna cry when a scale breaks off. I really just want to have fun there.
I see. So you want to go. I mean, you want to prepare like with the times, and you also want to make sure that nothing really goes awry with so much planning. You want to make sure that you're there on time and having a lot of fun with everyone else. So I can kind of see that.
Yeah, it's mostly about going and having fun, because I can't even tell you how many times, like even with SuperCon, we went there and I did Morgan from
Yeah.
Darkstalkers, and my wings melted in the hot Florida sun on the drive there. And I was like, whatever, I'm doing it on Sunday, I'll work on it at the con, and then I'll have a couple hours of wearing it. Because I really just want to, like, and I do get stressed, like, I'm not going to lie, like, it upsets me.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, like, I don't want to think about it until that I'm putting it on and doing it, because then it'll ruin the rest of my weekend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it
Because, you know, you don't want to go through all that. And then all of a sudden, you see stuff melting like, oh, man, I don't want to be, like, ice cream out in the public. What is this? So,
Exactly.
Not to mention, it takes a long time just to make those costumes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
sucks when I, have some kind of wardrobe malfunction.
It's like a blacksmith job.
Yeah.
so, Mr. Chaos, could you take number 8, please?
Sure. What are your thoughts on the principal photography phase after a cosplay shoot and the amount of work that goes into photos to make them look as good as possible post-production?
Like, how hard my photographers work? I guess I don't really extend.
I guess when you get the photos back, how they look, how much work that the photographers do, that you appreciate, and like so much goes into making the photo look perfect. So stuff like posing and the amount of work that goes into it after you see a shoot finally wrapped up. What do you think of that?
It's very wishy-washy with me. I mean, like, I Like, I will go to some, especially if I'm doing, like, an out-of-cosplay shoot, like a pinup shoot or something, and my back will hurt so bad the next day, and I'll be, like, in pain, and I'll be like, this is the worst, because I'm usually, like, a really tough chick.
Right.
And I like to work closer with, like, my friend photographers, like, Victoria's Photography. Her name's Laura. She's amazing. She always makes me look amazing, and I'm always, like, super comfortable with her. I love meeting new photographers and working with them and seeing how their work comes out, especially the ones like that do like the graphics behind and do like if I was Tank Girl and did like explosions and stuff. I always find that really fascinating, and it's amazing. Like, I usually get those, like, somebody will randomly pick up a picture of me and do that, and I think that's probably the coolest thing, that someone would sit there for hours just to work on a picture of me. Like, the photographers I book and work with are usually my friends or like someone who has requested to work with me, but it's always like a crazy compliment when someone does like edits an actual picture of me, even if it's like, no offense, even if it's like not that great. If they sit there by their computer and probably spent like 2 or more hours on that thing, it's like a huge like, oh my god, this guy's crazy, this girl's crazy. It's like a major compliment.
Yeah, shout out to all the guys with the Photoshop on deck, making that sushi look perfect. I gotta give you the thumbs up. So
Exactly, because I don't look that good in real life. Those guys are magic wizard people.
Photoshop magic.
I say that all the time. I'm like, oh, Photoshop's amazing.
yeah, it's pretty great. So we're moving on to question number 9. Name all.
Then you are late.
Yeah,
Yes.
Brandon's in here.
Brandon's here and he's late.
Sorry I'm late. Renegades suck at giving us schedules.
He's the only one that doesn't have an anime character as his icon.
Yeah, he has a crazy ghost face guy, so you have
I don't
to...
know if Renegades is the anime character. Or no offense.
Renegade is a bigger weeb than all of us, so yeah.
Oh, shut up. Shut up and let me move on to this question. So, this is number 9. Name off your top 3 favorite games to play of all time.
Oh, that's fun. Number 1 favorite video game of all time is Lunar Silver Star Story.
I've
Fucking
never
love
heard
that
of
game.
it. I've never heard of it.
Really?
I know I'm probably gonna get shot, but I probably will check it out.
Okay, wait, wasn't Lunar like a RPG for the PS1?
It is an RPG for the PS1.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
I wish Red knew more about that, but he only knows about.
Man, I love RPGs. I do love Final Fantasy. I do love
Not a real
Grandia.
fan, Renegade.
This was Final Fantasy before Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy. Like,
So-
it
original
was like it was like the original like origin story that released into like a lot of RPGs, I would say.
Yeah, that makes
Or, like-
sense. Because I didn't play it until, I didn't play RPGs until I got my hands on Grandia, so, beforehand I didn't know that much about them.
Yeah, RPGs are definitely, like, almost everything on my list would be, well, everything on my list would be RPG based. Number 2, just because it ate, like, half of my life, I'm gonna say World of Warcraft.
World of
Yeah.
Warcraft.
I used to be obsessed with the game.
I was like the number 2 ranking priest on my server for PvP up until Burning Crusades. Like, well, past Burning Crusades, because I played during vanilla. And then I stopped playing shortly after that because I hated all the expansion packs. And number 3 would have to be Final Fantasy VII.
I figured that. I figured as much.
That's a real favorite for everybody.
So, we're gonna move on to number 10, and I guess Mr. Reapers could take that.
Alright. How do you deal with negativity in the cosplay community? And what would be your words to aspire and help people who dealt with worse situations?
Now this is tricky because I actually get asked this daily.
Right.
Not just for me, just on many different levels. Either it's the men that are randomly like sending you dick pics, or the men that are randomly like, I would have fucked the life out of you. So there's like that kind of level. And then there's like the you're fat and the your cosplays are shit level. So there's many different levels. And then there's the other level, which is like secret that people don't really know about, where it's the evil cattyism between other cosplayers. I'm not really going to bring it up very much. I'm not going to mention names, but even like today, one of my friends is like, what do I do? I bought something from this cosplayer and I got it and it was really bad condition. So I mailed it back to them and told them, hey, your prints are very pixelized. I really would like a better picture. And they mailed them back the print. And the girl who got it mailed back to her was like, I'm going to take your cosplay page down and send all my people to hate on you and torment your page. And I'm like,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's just the whole community, like when you first start, and because I'm still kind of new to cosplaying because I've only been doing it for like 2 years.
Right.
When you first start, it's like everyone wants to be nice to you, everyone wants to be your friend, and then all the dark comes out the longer you cosplay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion, what I tell like all the people who ask me questions, my number one thing is stay away from sites like 4chan.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
Like if you are a cosplayer who even goes on that site, just delete it from your internet browser and ignore them. These are places where people go just to be evil, mean, horrible people.
Yeah, because they're anonymous, so it's like
so they can do whatever.
And the worst part, and I've learned from a very recent experience of my life, it was like my best friend who was attacking me. So like I had gone through like days and days of being reported constantly for every picture on Facebook, and it turned out it was like my best friend, and she was just, I don't know, I still can't explain what had happened. You know what I mean?
It's fucked up.
It's that catty dark side that people don't realize. So really the best thing to do is just like hit ignore, block, just don't take it to heart, because most of these people, like, it's really sad, they're just very jealous or they just are unhappy. Like even if it's like the guy who's like, you're a bitch for not talking to me, that's literally what it is. You are a bitch to this person because you're not showing him what he wants to see. So basically what I say to people is like, just ignore it, just block it out, don't respond, just move on with your life.
Yeah, that's the best way to approach it.
Exactly.
Taking the high road. So, Mr. Brandon, do you have the document open?
Yeah, but I can't read this one because of the little background noise. Sorry.
Okay,
Brandon came unprepared.
I can read it for you if you want. Which number are we on, Red?
11.
Is there any other mediums you are into that are comic book / anime inspired? And could you list off some of your favorites? Also, what's your favorite comic book superhero?
I am an artist by trade, or by professional. I have worked on a couple character designs for a couple small-time books, and hopefully I'll be working on some comic books in the future. I am a tattoo artist professionally. I've always loved like anime and comic book illustration artwork. That's kind of my specialty, even in the tattoo field. So my favorite thing to do, I love painting. It's very stress relieving. So I guess that would be like my other art reaches.
What's your favorite superhero?
Oh, Deadpool is my. Can I consider that a superhero? Or
He's
is
a
that
superhero to me.
Anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero technically.
He's a superhero to me.
Counts.
Okay, so he doesn't count. So if I have to pick like a good guy, because I really don't like good guy characters like at all. Oh, that's hard then.
Oh, you'll hate Superman then.
Oh, I fucking hate
Superman.
I
What?
hate Superman and Captain America. Like those are my.
I like Captain
That's
Superman
my
is
answer.
too bland in my opinion.
My least favorite characters: Captain America and Superman. And I haven't met one nice cosplayer that cosplays Captain America. I feel like they do it as like a, I'm secretly nice, like hiding their true, I'm an angry, aggressive male.
Just because they dress up as Captain America.
Yes. But favorite one. Okay, I really like Aquaman, and Thor.
Thor's pretty cool.
Who doesn't want to talk to the dolphins? You
It'd
know?
be either Aquaman or Thor, and the fact that the dude who's doing Aquaman is doing Aquaman in the new movie strongly excites me.
Oh, Mr. Jason Momoa.
Say his name again.
Jason Momoa. So.
But no, before Jason Momoa was doing Aquaman, Aquaman was one of the only... Aquaman, Thor, and Batman, and some Spider-Man are, the only comic books I really read as a kid. Like a little kid.
I still appreciate Batman. I think he's pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting. We don't really get much people that read, Thor and Aquaman and other characters like that, because they're kind of usually just, secondary. They're not really that big as your Spider-Man, your Batman, So that's pretty interesting. I've never
with Aquaman, his popularity gotten bigger thanks to New 52.
What about Green Lantern? You don't really hear much about Green Lantern.
Jon Stewart is my favorite, personally.
I try to like Green Lantern because Ryan Reynolds played him, and then I hated him more.
That was a disaster.
I love how even Ryan Reynolds makes fun of himself in the Deadpool movie.
Because he hated himself during that movie.
So, we're going to move on to question number 12. Who has been your favorite character to cosplay as so far? Could you list off some personal favorites?
Deadpool.
Definitely a lot of Deadpool tonight.
Deadpool is always going to be my favorite to cosplay because it was my first official cosplay.
Mm.
And it's one of the things I tell people who are getting into cosplay to always cosplay first. Because it was my first cosplay, and one, you're wearing a mask so you can be who you want to be, and two, you don't have to worry about anyone knowing who you are or seeing you and feeling uncomfortable. And you could just be yourself. And that's what's great about Deadpool.
And you can fuck around too, because Mr. Deadpool likes to mess around a lot. I recently saw a new movie and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty damn funny in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're cosplaying Deadpool and you trip down the stairs and you get up and you're like, I meant to do that, it's just funny. Where if you're cosplaying, let's say, Spider-Man and you do that, then you look like a dumbass. So, if it's I think that was the best move I ever made was wearing my Deadpool Halloween costume to a con.
Alright, so number 13 is to add on to that. What other cosplays have you personally done?
I have such a long list of cosplays.
It's time to dig in that skeleton closet and pull them out.
Yeah, I don't even know how many cosplays I've done at this time. Let's see, I did Deadpool first, technically for comic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
My first, really handmade built costume was for the Renaissance Festival, and it was Lady Loki.
That's interesting.
So, that wasn't made for a Comic-Con type thing. It was actually made for Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Android 18 because that's, my favorite Dragon Ball Z character.
Dude, yes. Oh, I fucking love Android 18.
I'm pretty sure I'm one of the only people that's favorite Dragon Ball Z characters are the androids. I've always just been in love with the idea of the androids.
18 is pretty cool, though. She's definitely my favorite android.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Android 17 was my first, cartoon human crush.
Well, cyborg, robot crush in
Technically
this case.
cyborg. Yeah.
I have a thing for men with long hair.
Oh, man.
Oh, no wonder she likes Thor.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the reason why I started reading Thor. But, let's see, and then I did Wolverine, because I really like Wolverine, even though it's funny I did Wolverine because I was really afraid to do Sabretooth, because he's, one of my favorite, X-Men characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll just do Wolverine because it's easier and people will get it. I've done so many cosplays. And now I've gotten to the point that so many people keep asking me to cosplay with them that I've kind of lost track of what I want to cosplay. so I just join with my friends. But in the long run, it's okay because I'd rather cosplay with a group of people than by myself.
That makes the most sense, actually. You know, I think it's more fun with more people getting in on it as opposed to just doing it by yourself. Plus, it creates some hilarious situations, especially when something happens and it's like, well, everyone sees it, so that guy is a fool for walking into that wall over there.
Good thing he was cosplaying Deadpool and not Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, we're going to have number 14 read off by Mr. Reapers.
Alright. Is there any cosplayers you look up to in terms of inspiration?
There's a couple. I definitely love Ivy Doom Kitty. She's one of my bigger favorite, like, big cosplayers. Mainly because she is a beautiful, curvy woman, and I love curvy cosplayers. Like, there's a lot of girls that are like, oh, he hurt my feeling because I ate it and told me to eat a cheeseburger. But it's really, really hard to be considered a plus-size model of any kind and to see someone build themselves up and have, like, a little meat on their bones or bigger. I have another girl who I really, and she's not a big cosplayer. It's funny, she's one of the first, like, people that came out and was like, I love you so much, I'm your biggest fan. And it's funny because she says it all the time, and I'm like, oh, I look up to you more than you would even imagine. Her name's, like, Tanya, or I think she goes by Cheetos Pool?
Cheetos Pool?
Cheetos Pool. I think that's it, or My Cheetos. And she's a bigger girl, and she cosplays Deadpool. And she is beautiful beyond words, and she rocks that shit so hard. And that stuff's awesome. And then I have, like, my two really good friends, Sushi Savette. She does work for, like, Cosplay Deviants. And that's a whole nother world, too, because she's constantly gets those harassment from men and everything else. And she's just the most fun-loving, like, headstrong, like, I can do this and you don't know shit. Like, I'm going to do what I want because I'm beautiful, like, person. And she doesn't let any of that stuff get to her. So that kind of stuff always, like, the fact that these women and some men are like, you know what, I don't have this, or I'm going to do this myself because I'm comfortable, and they get all that hate and negativity, but they still rise above it and are, like, still super strong, like, powerful cosplayers and people in general. That means a lot to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say we here at the TCP podcast, we do support the thickness. There's a game coming out called Thick Cybernetics. It's a robot game where you get to play as an android, and she's a bit busty, she's a bit curvy. We're supporting this game 100%. We're putting it out there. It's going to be
money at it.
Throw your money at it. It's the greatest game ever.
We're just plugging this game because of that.
Well, and you know, like, I don't want to give any, like, discredit to the, like, thin cosplayers too. I don't want to, like, go out there, but I, like, would give so much. Like, and it's funny because I think curvy chicks are way more attractive to me visually, but I have my own flaws that I know I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And I just think that the bigger girls kind of have to work for it harder, just like those unlike chiseled, abbed, structured jawline men. You know what I mean?
Crimson Chin.
That's right. You could be a man with a six-pack and raging muscles and put a Magikarp head on and become cosplay famous. That guy's awesome, by the way. The guy who did that, I forget his name off the top of my head, but that guy's hilarious.
Why, do you even splash, bro?
Yeah.
So, we're moving on to the last question, and I want Mr. Chaos to take that so we can wrap up tonight.
Sure. In closing, what advice would you give to those who want to try out cosplay but are nervous to the premise of doing so?
Definitely just dive right in. That's what I did. You will see a lot of people that will just come up to you just that don't know you. It's a very good, engaging community, and they want to hang out with you, especially the people who are just there to have fun. Just playing like what's that game called? It's like Werewolf. Like when I first started cosplaying, I just jumped in randomly into a werewolf game, and I was Deadpool, and they were like, okay, and they just accepted me like right off the bat, and I made a ton of good friends that first night alone. Don't keep thinking about it and saying, oh, I'm gonna do it one con, I'm gonna do it the next one, I'm gonna do it. Just jump in and do it. Maybe go to a smaller one at first if you feel a little uncomfortable, but it's totally 100% worth it. Just jump right in and just go have fun. Don't overthink it.
Right.
That's good advice.
For the viewers that don't know, what is the game Werewolf?
It's like a card game.
Yeah.
And you sit around, and actually, funny story, the first time I ever played this, I was dressed as Deadpool. And I had just jumped into a game, and basically you're dealt a card, each person in the game, and then there's one guy who sits in the middle, and they have to guess who the village people are, who's the werewolf. So each person gets a card, I guess. I've only played it a few times, and you're dealt a card, and each card has a different ability, basically. And one person in the circle is dealt the werewolf card. So the person in the middle gets to guess who. And, well, when I was Deadpool, my first time ever playing, they were like, it's the Deadpool girl, that's who it was. And I actually had the card that was the prince, which means I cannot die. So, as Deadpool, they tried to kill me the first round, and I was like, I'm the prince, bitches! And I won. And they couldn't kill me. So, and it goes around, and they keep asking who the werewolf is until they find out who it is, obviously, and you kill the people that they ask, or I don't know the game 100%, but it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely a game, I don't know if it's in other, like, states or countries, but here in Florida, they play it at, like, every con, and it's a hoot.
I think it's really interesting that people from cons make up these games. I know there's one that's called The Game, like you lost the game. Something weird like that. I had some people tell me about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird random games, and that's the thing, like, as a cosplayer, or just even if you're not even in cosplay, it is usually like the late night after the vendor room has closed, and we're all just hanging out being ridiculous, and they're all, like, playing either Magic the Gathering, or, like, random games. I've even seen people, like, playing Duck Duck Goose and, like, red light, green light, like, on the con floors. And that's the stuff, like, I like to join in, like, after-party stuff and just be ridiculous.
Alright.
Damn, that's like old. I didn't play Duck Duck Goose since kindergarten.
Yeah.
That's the point. You're going back to your childhood, and you're just going there to have fun.
Right.
That sounds pretty fun. So we're gonna do our outros now. So Miss Gothic Sushi, where can we find you on social media so all our fans could know?
I'm pretty easy to find. Just basically hashtag Gothic Sushi. On Facebook, it's Gothic Sushi CP for cosplay. On Instagram, it's Gothic Sushi 2, and on Twitter, it's Gothic Sushi 2. It's because I lost the password to my original accounts. So, like, the pictures and stuff on regular Gothic Sushi are going to be from, like, 2010 or below. Just ignore those. So, if it hasn't been updated in, like, 2 or 3 years, you'll know to look for Gothic Sushi 2. So, I'm pretty easy to find.
And it was pretty great having you. We had a lot of fun here tonight, me and the boys especially. I'm going to do their outros now. So, Mr. Brandon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ArcaneMagic514, and usually here at the TCP.
Alright. Mr. Reapers, where can we find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Reapers240. That's also my YouTube and my Twitch account. So if you ever want to see what we're doing, like DMC or We Happy Few, I'm always going to be on the TCP account. So be on the lookout for those things.
Mr. Chaos, where can we find you?
You can find me on both YouTube and Twitter at Captain Chaos. Although on YouTube, that's Captain Chaos Space Between. I usually do playthroughs, unboxings, reviews, stuff like that. And I'm also on the TCP. I'm doing a stream of Spec Ops. That'll be next Monday. We're going to continue that playthrough. So stay tuned for that.
Alright, and you can find me on Twitter at RenOperative_. You can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative. I will be probably doing a review on Evolve Stage 2. I'm going to be checking that game out, finally ending my playthrough on there, and giving my full opinion on that. I also will be here at the TCP uploading these podcasts as usual. We had a lot of fun tonight. We like to say see you out there in YouTube land, and hopefully you had a good time with this interview. Take care.